Awesome. All right. Are we in record mode? There we go. All right. Well, I want to personally welcome you guys to tonight's call. And for those of you that are listening to the replay, my name is Wendy Proya, and I'm super excited about this and honored to be moderating and hosting this for my dear sweet friend, Erin Postle. And, you know, Erin is a master weight loss coach. And I just want to tell you really quick how we met, because I'm a life coach as well. And we met in an online community for life coaches, and we became fast friends. And Erin has been an amazing mentor to me. And as somebody who's struggled with her weight most of her life, she has really helped me in the mindset area, not just with weight, but in life, like just in general. So she is one of the best when it comes to your mindset and really how to correct your thoughts. And I've seen amazing things happen in her life over the past 7 years since I've known her. And she's an amazing woman. In her background, just so you guys know, she was a guidance counselor for many years, and she's a psychotherapist. She is not just a master weight loss coach, but she's a mastermind. She's a master coach in general for mindset and life. And she's just brilliant. And she's also a top income earner in the network marketing industry. And she's amazing at entrepreneurship as well. So super excited about this call. And I'm just going to turn it over to her, and then I'll help with questions at the end. So it's all yours, Miss Erin. Welcome.
All right, guys. Well, thank you so much, Wendy, and everyone. Thank you so much. I'm going to give you a heads up. My computer's been acting funny. So if by some fluke I get cut off and kicked off, I will be back. It happened the other day, so I really hope that doesn't happen. I think it's time for a new girl. This old Mac is about done. So guys, here's what you can expect tonight. So, it was on my heart to just really get out and share with people some of the powerful lessons that I've learned over the last, 10 years. I realize it's my 10-year anniversary of being a coach, a life coach and a weight loss coach. And I remember the pain of struggling, and people ask me questions all the time about how to end emotional eating. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to do like a 3-part series and really teach some amazing concrete skills to people that in good karma will be amazing for you. You'll be able to use some strategies tonight, and we're going to do 2 more classes. We'll talk about that. This is going to be about 20 minutes long. I want to give you something concrete to walk away from, and then we're going to come back. And at the end of the 3 classes, if you do want to work closely with us on a more instant level, you'll have the opportunity to do so. And if not, no big deal. You're going to have lots of juicy, good stuff. All right, so I'm going to just tell you a little bit about me. Can you guys see my screen okay? Just nod. Yeah, okay. Guys, my story is a lot like yours, okay? Wherever you're sitting right now, where you're struggling with emotional eating or overeating on a big scale or even on a little scale, my story is a lot like yours. Let me bring you back to 2008 and what I wanted. This is pre-Wendy, pre-Wendy Proya. I was the kind of woman that I always had a passion for health and fitness. I had every single Oxygen magazine. I had the whole stack, and I would read them, and I would imagine that I could get there. And I somehow thought through osmosis that it would naturally happen, but it never did. And then one day I was watching Oprah, and I heard them talk about The Secret. This is 2008. Do you guys remember when that was a big deal? And Oprah, God, I loved Oprah. Who loves Oprah? I missed that show. I used to watch it every night. And she had this woman on there, Martha Beck, and they were talking about coaching. And as a counselor and a therapist, it perked my attention. And I heard that there was an industry called coaching. And I thought, well, this is like winning the lottery. This is an amazing opportunity. I thought you can help people, like successful, high-functioning people, create better lives. And then I heard you could be a weight loss coach. And I was like, that is the money. That is the money shot. This is like a dream. If I could help women with this, that would be like winning the lottery to me. I would volunteer to do that. And it's what I really wanted for myself, because I knew on some level that the struggle I had inside of me was I was eating when I wasn't hungry. I was eating the wrong foods. I knew what to eat, but I wasn't doing it. I knew what to do, I wasn't always doing it. I would do it sometimes, but not enough to make a big impact. Do you guys understand what I'm talking about? Like, you do it, but you never really go all in. It's like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. And it's because the struggle was real, as they say. Like, it was hard for me to stay committed. It was hard for me to believe in myself. I thought that I was just always going to be a big boned girl, and I was not cut out to be lean and healthy, and that's just not who I was. The idea that I could have cookies in my cupboard and not think about them, or forget about ice cream in my freezer, or forget about like eating a meal, was like Japanese. I never believed that I could be one of those people, right? It's like, what's up with these weird people? They like have cookies in their house and they go stale. They have Halloween candy, they don't eat it. What the frick is wrong with these people, right? I didn't know that I could unlearn some of those things and become one of those people. It's crazy. So what I did was I immersed myself in that world. I learned everything I could about life coaching, about weight loss coaching, and I really feel like I had some breakthroughs. I had aha moments, and I'm going to teach you guys what I learned. I remember the moment that it hit me. I was in my food pantry. It was one of those ones you can go in and shut the door. And I was kind of like a lonely Air Force wife. And I remember the moment I was in my little food cupboard. My little toddlers were in bed. I was lonely. My husband was away. And I was like, I want to eat. This is going to make me feel better. I want to feel better. I don't like this discomfort in my body. And I'll never forget the moment when I had that awareness and I was able to coach myself through that discomfort and not eat the cookies or eat the crackers or whatever I was going for. It was like a total breakthrough. That's all I needed, was that little moment to continue on. And from there, I really feel like I let go of so much of the struggle. But then I hit a problem. Here I was now coaching people on weight loss. And I thought, anti-diets, you don't need to have a diet. You can just think your way out of this. You can just coach yourself out of this. But the reality was, I still had extra weight. So even though I wasn't overeating, I was still not where I wanted to be. So I didn't know what to do. Jeff's cooking dinner. Can you hear that? I didn't know what to do because I was dealing with the emotional things. I really feel like I put a dent in that. And yet I was still exhausted. I still had a lot of visceral body fat. I still didn't feel good. Nothing was really working. I had a trainer. I was doing Insanity. Remember that workout? I was working with a trainer. I was eating salmon. I was eating cauliflower, but I couldn't get that last 20 pounds off. And then I had my second epiphany. And it was you, Wendy, that told me the words. I'll never forget the words that you said. You said inflammation and oxidative stress. I'd never heard those words. I'd never heard about that foods that you put in your body affect your hormones, that inflammation caused food cravings and overeating. It was like, whoa, it was like, what the hey? And I actually stopped mindset coaching people, and I started to do some other things and playing around with some food protocols. And I'm going to teach you guys that on my third class, what I was doing. And so I was able to marry the mindset and eating the right foods at the right time. And once I was able to get through those roadblocks, that's when I was able to have the ultimate transformation. So it was kind of combining the mind and the body, because you can't just mindset yourself to a lean body. You have to address the food, and you have to address the mind. And so that's what we're going to talk about. You guys relate to this, right? So it's kind of like, once I figured out the life coaching, it was like I had my own little professional coach. Don't you guys wish that you had someone on your shoulder, the good devil, the bad, or whatever? Don't you wish this was kind of like having like my own little cheering squad, my own kind of personal trainer, life coach, weight loss coach on my shoulder that was there to cheer me on and support me through those lonely nights as an Air Force wife and through those moments of stress. So once I figured out how to coach myself, it was like I had this whole cheering squad. And then once I was able to eat the right foods at the right time, then it was like, I had unlocked the key. It was like a key. And when I unlocked it, the weight came off of me so quickly. The cravings were gone. I actually almost had anxiety, and I'm not an anxious person, but I remember thinking, oh my God, what the heck? I went jogging. My shorts were falling off. It was crazy town. And I was like, this is the perfect marriage when I can combine these two things. And so since then, I've coached thousands of people through this process. So I'm going to share with you guys what's really helped me. So there we go. I'm using this as not a PowerPoint, but a PDF. So here's the 3 secrets for you guys to kind of end this cycle. Who can relate to this cycle? I'm starting on Monday. I'm going to do this. I'm going to follow this eating program. I'm not going to give up. And by Monday afternoon, it's like, oh, I really want to eat this, or, oh, my habit is this, or I really want to do that. And I'll start tomorrow, right? Or the next day. And that cycle. Or lose a little bit of weight, gain it back. Get ready for something, gain it back, right? Well, here's the secrets to kind of ending this cycle. Because a lot of people have these limiting beliefs. They believe, number 1, that you have to feel physically uncomfortable. Here's the first secret. You don't have to feel physically and mentally uncomfortable. You can actually reduce your desire for food, because think about it, it's a desire. It's an over-desire by eating certain foods and by coaching yourself. So you can actually go through this process with a lot more ease than you have been trying. Guys, I did it with white knuckling and the blood, sweat, and tears and willpower, and it doesn't have to be that hard. It really doesn't. And you probably have had moments of that where you're like, this is so easy. What the hell, right? How do you create that? I'm going to show you guys how to do that. Number 2, even if you've never been successful at weight loss before or coping with this kind of stuff, because I'm going to guess that you've tried, you can have success. You can learn to manage your hormones, your food cravings, and your thoughts, and you can be one of that 1% club. There are people that learn how to let go of weight and stay at that forever. And just because you haven't been able to do it yet doesn't mean you won't be able to. I wasn't until I was in my 40s that I was able to really do this, okay? And there's still days that I struggle, don't get me wrong. I'm not perfect, but the volume has been turned right down. So I can help you turn the volume down on all of this, even if you've never done it before. And here's the scoop. A lot of people are like, well, I work full time, I have kids, I travel all the time. It doesn't actually have to take a lot of time. Once you figure this out, once you kind of unlock it, once you have the strategies in place, the body's efficient. And once you figure it out, it doesn't take a lot of time, which is really good news. So you can get to where you want to get quickly. Make sense? All right, so here's what you're going to get over the next couple classes with me. I'm going to give you 3 key strategies that you can implement immediately. I like this picture on my boat. I don't know why I put it up there. It doesn't have anything to do with this, but it's like pretty easy. It shows an easy life. There's 3 strategies that you can implement immediately. You're going to get 2 more live coaching calls with me where you can actually come on, ask questions, and get coached live. So if you want to get coaching on what I'm going to teach you tonight, we're going to start with that on Tuesday. We are going to open up a private Facebook community at the end of this for those, or maybe during it, I'll talk to Wendy about how we're going to do that, for you guys to ask questions and participate. And then at the end, if you want to link arms closely with us for 2 weeks, there's going to be that opportunity for you. Okay? So here's the goal for today. We're going to keep it short and sweet, but there's a few things that I want you to walk away with, because self-awareness is the most important thing. I want you to understand the cause. Why do you eat when you're not hungry? Why are you overeating? There are 4 reasons. And a lot of you guys are in health and wellness, so you can use this material. Please share it, please use it, and help your people with it. So there's usually 4 reasons why we eat when we're not hungry. We're going to start noticing over the next couple of days, what are the reasons why you're doing it? Because it's like, we can't solve the problem if we don't know why. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like, if you have a hole in your tire in your car and you just keep going to the air station and filling it up, it doesn't solve the problem because the air hole's still there and the air keeps leaking out. Wouldn't it be better if you just stuck a patch on that tire, right? And then fix the problem, and then you don't have to keep filling it up with air? And that's what we're going to do, is we're going to solve the problem. But first we got to figure out what the problem is. So probably it's one of these reasons for you. Number one, emotional discomfort. Reason number one. Do you guys relate to this picture, right? Low tolerance for uncomfortable emotions. How many people here don't like to feel uncomfortable? Hello, all of us, right? When we're kids, we don't have much of a choice. It's like, well, I'm sorry you're upset, honey. Get over it. You know, you cry, you pout, you stomp your feet. Whew. And what do you do at the end of it all? You take a deep breath and you move on. But you felt all of the emotions, and then you move on. But as an adult, we learn to buffer. It's like, well, uncomfortableness coming on. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling alone, like me with my food cupboard. I'm lonely. I deserve this. I've had a hard day. I don't want to feel these feelings. I'm going to cover it up. I'm going to drink some alcohol. I'm going to eat some food. I'm going to go on Facebook. It's called buffering. It's when we use something outside of ourselves to distract from our feelings, because nobody wants to feel uncomfortable. But what if I could show you a way to feel those feelings and come out the other way with ease? Because here's the cool part. And some of you might feel quite numb, and maybe you don't have a lot of joy in your life. If you don't feel the bad and the uncomfortableness, you actually don't get to feel the good and all the awesome. So what I'm going to teach you is how to feel the feelings, be okay with being uncomfortable. And then the flip of that is that you get to feel good too, right? So number one, why do people eat when they're not hungry? Because they're avoiding feeling something. And I'm sure we can all relate to that, right? The second reason is those don't even look that good. Probably should have picked some with icing. There's an over desire for food. We are conditioned to consume food when we are not hungry. We are conditioned everywhere we go to eat when we're not hungry. It's just like Pavlov's dog, right? Ring the bell, feed the dog. Ring the bell, feed the dog. I mean, I have a lab. That guy is so food driven and he's so cute. Like, I could be holding something and you can literally see the drool coming out of his mouth. He's conditioned, right, to eat when he sees certain things. So we are like that too. We've conditioned ourselves. Dopamine is one of our hormones, one of our feel-good hormones that we get from exercise and sex and laughing and all sorts of things. We also get it from food, specifically flour and sugar. So, we have an over desire. It's not a normal desire for food. Do you guys know there's people that don't really over desire food? You've met these people. You've seen them in museums and things. You've seen them around. They don't crave stuff. It's really weird. But many of us, our biochemistry, we're programmed. We have an over desire. We have these unconscious patterns. We end up eating and not even noticing, holy smokeronis, I've had like a whole bag of popcorn, or I've eaten this while I was driving, or while I've been online. Over desire for food. Once we solve the problem for the over desire, it goes away, right? So that's the second reason why people overeat. The third reason is physical cravings. Have you guys ever felt like a serious physical craving? Not an avoiding of a feeling, but like a downright physical craving. Most people are craving flour, sugar, and the reason that they do is because their hormones are out of whack. We have hormones that tell the brain and the body, eat more, eat more. These hormones that tell us we're full. Those hormones can get out of whack for a variety of reasons, right? So we have to understand that. And there's also the feeling of withdrawal. So we know what that's like for an alcoholic, right? We're all pretty familiar with withdrawal when you're coming off alcohol or coming off drugs. What happens when people go through withdrawal? their body physically is pissed. They're pissed off, right? The body gets angry because it's physically craving this. You could have, the brain of a monk and be totally zenned out, but your body is screaming for flour and sugar. How do you get through that? How do you prevent that, right? So a learned habit. Okay, do you want me to change something here? Okay. So we have habits we've created, and evolutionary-wise, guys, here's the deal. Our survival back in the day was to overconsume flour, was to eat sugar. When it's like summertime and there's lots of berries and there's lots of fruit, stock it up, baby. Do you know our bodies are programmed and designed biologically in the summer? We have a desire to overconsume the fruit and sweet things that we can put on fat and store fat for winter, right? Because that's what we needed to do thousands and thousands of years ago. But the famine never really comes. So we have these, we're kind of fighting our biology all the time. Does this make sense, you guys? Yeah, is this making sense to you? Those physical cravings. And feel free to type in the chat. I don't know, can you see the chat, Wendy? Yeah, feel free to type in the chat any questions that are coming up as you go through.
I'll be watching for that.
Okay, so that's another reason why people eat when they're not hungry, right? It's those physical cravings. And then hunger. We, as a whole, have trained our bodies to eat more than we need, right? The physical feeling of hunger, like right now, if you go into your body, figure out, can you tell if you're hungry, physically hungry? You able to decipher physical hunger versus, an emotional drive to eat, or one of those cravings. So we need to understand how to eat within a certain window of time and within a certain amount of food, right? Sadly, because of portion sizes, because the way we've trained ourselves as a society and a culture, people often lose touch with this. When I started, you guys, when I really started to listen to how much food I actually needed, it was like super uncomfortable to not eat until I was really, really full. I had to learn how to be okay with neutral, with not overfeeding myself, right? Because sometimes I was craving almost that discomfort of being full because it distracted me from feeling the other things I didn't want to feel. So I really needed to combine the coaching and the right food, okay? Super foods are powerful. Food gives your brain a message and your body a message, right? So when you eat the right superfoods, it tells your body, I've had enough to eat. I'm okay. When you get the right minerals, your physical cravings will go away. And you'll just be left with a few emotional cravings. And then I'll teach you guys how to do that. Okay? So does that make sense to you guys? Those 4 things? All right, let's keep going. Okay, can you hear them talking about pickled eggs back here? Okay, sorry. All right, so where do we start? Okay, here's where we start. The very first thing is I want you to write this down. Step number 1 is you are going to work on your physical hunger. You're going to be able to identify that. That's what you're going to work on. You're going to work on the feeling of withdrawal, and you're going to work on the feeling of cravings. Okay? So I want you guys to just bring up in your mind right now, what does it feel like? When was the last time that you remember feeling really physically hungry? Like maybe you forgot to bring food with you. You were out, you were at someone's house for dinner and they didn't serve you dinner till later than what you're normal, or you were running around and you could really feel that physical hunger. Like just anchor that in your brain. Like think about that feeling and what that felt like in your body. Okay? Now think about the feeling of withdrawal. The feeling of, okay, I'm not going to have this sugar, or I'm not going to have these carbs, or I'm not going to have this chocolate, or I'm not going to have this wine, or I'm not going to have, what does that feel like? Super different, right? It feels different. The feeling of withdrawal. It's more of like an urgency, right? It's more of like I really want this, right? It's more like some anxiety wrapped around it. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Right? So very different than the physical hunger. Like when you're at your friends for dinner and dinner is delayed, like it's not an anxious feeling. It's more of a curious, like, getting hungry, but you're not anxious about it. You don't feel panicky. And then a craving is a totally different feeling. A craving is more like a desire. Like, ooh, I really want this. Oh, I can't wait to have that. It's more of like anticipation. It's more a little bit exciting. It's more of like, I guess anticipation. So those are the three things. So remember the hole in the tire, right? Don't just keep putting air in. You have to figure out what's going on with you. What's going on, because what's going on with Sue is going to be different than Lori or Liberty or Kim, right? Sometimes you're going to have a physical hunger, and that's going to be super different. Sometimes you're going to have withdrawal. It's like, no, I'm giving up this pop, or I'm giving up processed sugars, or I'm giving up flour because they're nasty for me. You're going to feel withdrawal. And if you can label it, you can solve it. You can be like, there's the hole in the tire. I know how to plug that hole. No problemo. But if you don't know what you're dealing with, how can you plug the hole? How do you fix it? And then the third thing is a craving, right? The craving. So this week, over the next couple days, I want you to start writing down or noticing I'm going to presume right now that I want you to start cleaning up your eating. Okay. I want you to start, like, if you're trying to get off pop or booze or sugar or flour or carbs or whatever, I'm going to give you guys a plan at the end. If you want to partner with me, if you want me to coach you, if you want Wendy to coach you, you have that opportunity. For the next couple of days, I want you to play around with it all by yourself. And I want you to start noticing, okay, what is really driving me to overeat, emotionally eat? Is it like a withdrawal? Is it a craving? Is it physiological hunger? Just start noticing that and bring it to the call on Tuesday. And I'm going to give you some other homework. I want you to journal your food for a couple days. Okay, I know that sucks. Nobody likes to journal their food. But I want you to classify it into a couple different categories. And some of you who've worked with me before, you know these categories. This is going to help with the mindset. And that's what we're going to start with on Tuesday. I want you to classify your eating as storm eating. And that's kind of more, I would say, probably around the withdrawal. Storm eating is when you overeat. It's fierce. You know you're doing it. You don't care. And you can't really stop. And it feels really out of control. Like maybe you're feeling lonely. For me, that storm eating, that day that I was in that closet, my food closet, and I stopped myself. I was lonely. I wanted to eat. I wanted to avoid that. I didn't give a shit. Pardon my language. I wanted to do that. That was storm eating. I was avoiding feeling. Number 2, the fog eating. That is the mindless eating where you don't even notice it. That's the habit, right? That's the condition. You've conditioned your brain. When you go to a barbecue and someone has appies, you're going to eat appies, even if you're not hungry, even if it's food you wouldn't normally eat. You're just going there and you're eating the appies because somebody put them out, right? That's fog eating. You're not like sad. You're not craving it. You're not on withdrawal, but you just don't even notice it. And that's called fog eating, okay? Fuel eating is your lean protein, your superfoods. For my people, it's some of their meal replacements that I give them. It's healthy, clean food that you plan and prepare. It's your fuel. It's what nourishes your body, okay? And the last type of eating is called joy eating, okay? Joy eating is planned, okay? So we have a blueberry farm down the road. My kids like to go down there sometimes to get ice cream. Joy eating would be like, okay, so tomorrow night we're all going to walk to the blueberry farm. We're all going to have an ice cream together, little summer shaker, little summer treat. I might not be hungry when I'm there, right? I might not even be craving ice cream. I might not be withdrawing from ice cream. It's a family moment. It's a summer thing. Yes, it's sort of conditioning probably my kids in, maybe not a healthy way, but it's also part of life as a North American. So as long as it doesn't become our fuel, it's just a joy. It's planned. We go down. It's very different than if I was driving by the blueberry farm and I stopped in, because I used to, every time I went to my old town in Nova Scotia, I would drive by the Dairy Queen. It was like autopilot. I conditioned myself. I would go to the drive-thru and get my medium dipped cone and get one, even if I wasn't hungry, even if I didn't want to. I was conditioned. Do you guys ever have like those weird habits where you are conditioned? I would do that over and over. This is different. It's planned, you know it, and you plan it ahead of time. If you're a drinker and you're trying to cut back on drinking, you can do this with your alcohol. Allow yourself to drink, but plan it ahead of time so that your drinking is not based on cravings. It's not based on escaping. It's a planned drink. So like I try to cut back on my drinking when I'm training, which is right now. So it's planned. It's like, okay, I'm going to drink 2 nights in the week. It's going to be this night. It's going to be this night. I'm going to have a glass of wine at this dinner. I'm going to have a drink here on my boat. So it's planned ahead of time. It's kind of like that, that joy eating. Okay. I want you to also, so here's the 3 things you're going to do. Number 1, you're going to identify, you're going to play around with, is this hunger? Is this a craving? Like if you notice yourself overeating, I want you to just write it down. Be like, wow, it's like I'm super craving carbs. Or like I'm trying to quit my pop, but I can't. I'm just like so anxious about it. I'm going through major withdrawal and I drank like 3 cans of pop. So just start making some notes about that. And then for the next couple of days, classify your eating. Are you storm eating? Are you eating because you're pissed off, angry, whatever? Is there some fog eating in there? Just start classifying your eating. And I also, the third big idea I want you to walk away with tonight is I want you to just notice when you eat certain food groups and macros, how does your body respond? How does your mind respond? Right? I used to have a lot of insulin resistance. If I ate any carbohydrates, I was exhausted. I would be falling asleep. I had no energy and I was craving sugar. If I had a Diet Coke, I automatically needed to eat chocolate. It was like an instant, my brain chemistry, my body responded to that. If I eat fat and protein at breakfast, I'm not hungry all day. If I eat the right macros, if I eat the right combination, if I eat the right minerals, I have like no cravings. It's craziness. So I want you to start noticing what you crave when you crave it. Okay? So that's it for tonight. I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but feel free to Control Alt 4. Take a screenshot of this. We'll take a couple questions, but just to review, you guys, here we go. We had the reasons we overeat was emotional discomfort, right? The second one, an over desire for food. The third one was physical cravings. And the fourth one was hunger, okay? So not being able to manage your hunger. So I'm going to stop my screen share. You guys have some homework to do. We'll take a couple of takeaways or questions, and then we'll call it a night. Hold on a second. There we go. So
that was awesome.
Thank you.
Love it.
Oh, I'm so happy.
A lot of it, like, go ahead. Who's trying to speak? Sorry.
Yeah, feel free to unmute. I'd love a takeaway or a question, and then we'll wrap it up. Who learned something?
I put a question in the group, and you talked about hormones, and I almost died from estrogen about 6 years ago, so I can never be on any form of estrogen. And I take like progesterone, DHEA, I do some other supplements, but is there any tips or insight that you can give? Because I know estrogen has a lot to do. I've gained a lot of weight since I had the hysterectomy, but I also have adrenal fatigue, so it all kind of ties together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, obviously I'm not a doctor, but what I do know is that the hormones that have to do with how you respond to insulin, and your hunger, like your ghrelin and your leptin, that has to do with your hunger and your satiety, those hormones. I know that we can impact that with the foods that we eat. Now, as far as your female hormones, I'm not an expert in that, but I think you'll find that when you balance out those other hormones, that you will start to feel good, because our body fat holds our female, it's kind of a storage for hormones. You guys ever notice that when you gain weight, your periods are worse or your cramps are worse, right? Because our fat stores hormones. So if we can work with just reducing your body fat through, the intermittent fasting, through some of the suggestions I'm going to make for you, we can help balance out your insulin and ghrelin and leptin. I think you might see an impact there, but I can't make any promises. But stay with us, okay, Kim?
I will. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, though. Self-sabotage, is this considered a storm eating? Yeah, self-sabotage is probably, and that'll be fun for you to kind of like explore. Like, are you escaping a feeling? When you are going to self-sabotage. So just the next couple of days, notice when you're doing that, or notice what thoughts are coming into your mind. Because if you don't storm eat, what are you left with? What's the emotion and what's the thought? I want you to see if you cannot storm eat and tell me what you're left with. I feel anxious. I feel a craving I can't satisfy. Or I feel an emotion I don't want to feel. So figure out what that is, play around with it for a couple of days, and we'll circle back on Tuesday. And the recording is going to be posted.
Right. So, and I think it's really important for people to realize, like, this is not like, it takes work, because you have to be very willing to feel the emotions and to recognize things. And that's really part of it. So I went through most of my life. It's a work for me. Every day I work on this, not feeling that, and just really fog eating, to avoid the emotions, stress, happiness, sadness, whatever, any emotion. So, it takes a lot of work, but it's so worth it, because, when you learn the model that Erin's going to be teaching, you'll feel so much better. And that's the biggest thing. It's been a huge help for me. And then a lot of you guys are asking about the recording. What we're going to do, just so that you know, we're going to keep everything on the event page. So we are going to put the recording in there, and then we're going to change the date for next Tuesday at 5 p.m. PST. So this week coming up. And then after that one, we're going to change it to Wednesday. So we're going to do it Tuesday, the second part, Wednesday, the third part. So it's all going to stay in that group. So if you want to add people and they didn't catch the first call, they can listen to the recording, join the second call live. Because what you'll find is throughout these calls is when the live coaching is very helpful. Some of the things that Erin's going to be teaching and then giving time at the end, that to me is the best part. So definitely come, and if you can come live, that would be great. So does anybody else have any other questions or anything they want to just get clarified? All right, Erin.
Okay.
Quick question. You say Tuesday and Wednesday. Is that this week, next week?
Yeah, it's this Tuesday and Wednesday at the same time, 5 p.m. PST. So if you can't be on, then just let us know. Well, you don't have to let us know. I mean, you can. That'd be nice. But you can always access the recording. It's all going to be on that event page. Okay. So we know that. I wanted to give this to you guys quickly. Obviously, you can go back and re-listen to them and keep them. But yeah, we're gonna rip the Band-Aid off quick, okay? And I want you guys to know that this is a process, right? What if we could change how often you spend sabotaging yourself? What if we could change how long you spend overeating, right? What if you could reduce it and reduce it and reduce it, and then one day you wake up and you realize, oh my God, I haven't done this in like 2 weeks. I haven't done this in like 3 weeks. It's like I'm potty training a new puppy. And I felt like she'd never learn. And then one day, like, I just realized, wait a second, she hasn't peed on the floor in like 3 weeks, right? So yeah. You think it's never going to happen. And then one day you realize, holy smokes, it just happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there was a time when my world evolved around my next meal. You know what I mean? I was constantly, it was just so hard. And I thought about it so much that it consumed me and I wasn't getting a lot done. And it's so actually, it's just so amazing to not have to worry about that. You know what I mean? How much more time you have for other things, because when your mind is so full of thoughts about food and just deprivation and, you know, emotional eating, it's an eating disorder, right? It's part of what makes your brain go. So learning these techniques can be very life-changing. So I'm excited for the next few calls, Erin. So thank you, everyone. I appreciate you guys joining, and Erin did, you know, amazing again. I'm looking to just make sure there's anything else. We're going to cover all of these things in the next call for sure too. So if you guys missed your question or anything like that, send a private message if you need to, and we'll talk to you offline for sure, or answer it through Messenger. Otherwise, we will see you on Tuesday night.
Yeah, it takes about, someone wanted to know about the recording, but the time I press the stop button, it takes a few minutes to download, upload. Later on this evening, it will be up there, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks,
All right.
guys.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Erin. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Hey.
Wendy.
Bye.